Okay, hello and welcome in, everyone. I am doing a pick a card today. I think I'm going to call this, Where is this relationship headed? I kind of just pulled from, it's the Crystal Spirits Oracle deck. I didn't really shuffle for these. I just simply kind of held the deck and pulled some cards randomly from the middle. And so pile 1 we have Turquoise, pile 2 we have Diamond, and pile 3 we have Blue Lace Agate. If you choose one pile and it winds up you don't really feel like it fits, you can always come back to the beginning and choose again. So, you know what? Without further ado, let's jump into it. We're going to start off with pile 1. Okay, starting off with pile 1, Turquoise. Let's see. What I wanted to do was maybe just take a look at our book here and just see. Let's just see. So we're asking where this relationship is headed. Turquoise is 57. I marked it off here after I chose a couple cards in this book, so just so that way I could find it quickly. Storytelling, reframing a different way of perceiving. Each of us can experience the same event differently because all of us are coming from different vantage points. Know too that as you change, so will your perception. And the message Turquoise Spirit has for you is that you can change your story of what happened in the past at any time. You can choose which details to focus on and how to interpret events. For you, being encouraged to claim your power as a storyteller. Make no mistake, storytelling is an awesome power. For no one can take your truth away from you, but you may discover that it has more angles than you realized, just as a crystal turned over in your hand has more facets than apparent at first glance. What story will you tell? Will it be one that is heroic and empowering, worthy of your hard work and efforts to heal what is wounded within you? Rest assured that you can be honest about all that you have experienced and done, yet still write a story that will help you feel that you are strong, wise, and supported by the conscious universe. The truth we all share is complicated, and the way you tell your truth is up to you. So Turquoise Spirit encourages you to write your story well, in a way that honors, empowers, and heals you, and gives you strength. Even if others may not seem to accept your truth, tell it anyway. For doing so, it is a healing act. And then the relationship message is the story of a relationship may change over time as you come to recognize and accept your role in the dynamic. Be brave and acknowledge your mistakes, but also the remarkable work you have done. To learn from them and heal your past. Reframing what happened can help you move forward with greater wisdom and strength. If you are seeking a relationship, think about the story you have written about why you haven't yet found the partnership you yearn for. Have you focused only on the details about your shortcomings or challenges and forgotten your strengths and all that you have done right? Now is time to reconsider your story so that you can write the best one for you. I apologize for that noise outside. So, I called this reading, Where is this relationship headed? I feel like with Turquoise Spirit, if you were pulled to this pile, it's reminding you to speak your truths within your relationship. I think you may be in a situation or a time period in your relationship where the two of you are finding yourself on different pages. And I like that in the book, for Crystal Spirit, it said vantage points. I don't know, I can remember going back to 8th grade art class and learning vantage points and actually, you know, putting the point on the paper, and you had to draw the lines to that point. And I kind of love that it took it there. Turquoise is one of my favorites. It's my favorite color of all time, but it's also just interesting that they use vantage points. It kind of almost feels like a serendipitous coincidence for me that my favorite is turquoise, and I always loved vantage points because I've actually preached this to different people because I do a little bit of life coaching, and so I'm just trying to find, there we go. And I didn't light my candle. I just realized. Let's light that. Or did it go out in between? Let's light the candle real quick. Sorry about that. Okay. Sorry for that interruption. So I was saying vantage points. Anytime I've talked about different things with life coaching and terms of relationships, right? When we're in a relationship, sometimes we forget that the person that we're together with doesn't have all the same exact perceptions as us. And I think to a degree we know that, but I think sometimes we forget just how different, right? Like your person grew up in a different home, different household. If you guys come from different backgrounds, nationalities, countries, races, spaces, whatever it is, I think sometimes we forget just how different our perceptions can be. And so our vantage points, sometimes while we have maybe, let's just say the very point, our vantage point is love in this case, right? We're doing a relationship read. So our vantage point is love, but if I'm standing here, I'm just going to pull this. Actually, hold on. We're talking about turquoise. I'll pour my turquoise. If I'm standing directly in front of this turquoise, I have this vantage viewpoint directly in front of me. My person can be standing right next to me and still be viewing it from another vantage point, right? So they see the same thing I do. And it reminds me of being and having the same goals within a relationship, but remembering to also understand that each person still sees things subtly different. Even if your overall picture and goals and dreams are the same, we still see things a little different. Even if that person is standing right next to us, right? I could be standing here, your person standing here, or you know what I mean. You can be standing here, your person could be standing here. And you see the same thing, but look, that's different vantage points right there. So I kind of like that message. It feels like, I mean, we'll get a little bit more into this, but what do I want to use here? Let me see. We're talking about vantage points, and I'm just gonna, do I want to use the Rider-Waite, traditional Rider-Waite? I feel like I've been using my typical decks a lot, but they are, you know what? I actually feel called to use. I have not used this in quite a while, and I definitely have not used it on the channel yet. Alice in Wonderland tarot deck. That's the cover. Here's the box. So I'm going to use, let's just see. I'm going to try and pull, you know what I think I'm going to do is a little bit of a non-traditional spread, at least separate from my tradition, which is laying out a bunch of tarot cards. I'm gonna, let's see if we pull one. Let's pull one from Alice in Wonderland here. Let's see. I think of going, I don't know, anytime with Alice in Wonderland, I think of going down the rabbit hole, right? I know sometimes I feel like we don't know, do we want to follow the rabbit down that rabbit hole? We never know what we're going to find. But if you're here for a reading, that's kind of what we do, right? Like when we are pulling cards, we're trying to find answers down the rabbit hole kind of thing. What do we have? What do we have? Wheel of Fortune. You know what I feel? Since with Turquoise Spirit, we talked about different perception, vantage points. It talked about speaking your truth. It also said in the description, storytelling. I think, and again, I think that's about speaking your truths. Feels like by doing so, you guys might be turning that wheel in the sky, right? Now in Alice in Wonderland, the wheel isn't in the sky. We have the dodo bird that stands on the rock, and we've got the birds that continuously go round and round while the waves kind of crash over them back and forth, right? So let's see, in thinking of the Wheel of Fortune in that sense, it feels like maybe in previous times in your relationship, it feels like, you know, in thinking of the water that continued to wash over them and as they continue to go round and round, I feel like maybe by not speaking your truths, by maybe not being honest with yourselves and each other in this relationship, you guys were kind of just continuously going in circles, not having clarity within what's happening with the two of you, right? And I feel like the Turquoise Spirit is telling you that it's time, if you want your relationship to be able to continue to grow, to move healthy, it's time to sit down and be honest, not only with each other, but with yourself, right? Speak your truths. Take a look at the details that each other is seeing differently, right? Talk about your different perspectives, your different vantage points. Let's see. All right, I'm good on the Alice in Wonderland. I kind of want to do a little bit of each different deck that I have here. What else do I want to pull? What else do I want to pull? Let's go. All right, let's do this. Let's pull from my favorite deck here. I like that. Just gonna take a moment here. The Star. By having that talk, speaking your truths, what the two of you will do is alchemize. And you know what? I just realized YouTube likes to flag different things, so let's just cover her up there. Yeah, the Star is another alchemist, right? She's pulling water and pouring onto the earth, and we're alchemizing, right? It's about blending. It's about coming together from different points, right? She's got one foot in the water, one on the ground. If you're in a position where you've been on different pages, the star is reminding you that by coming together and having the deeper conversations, that you absolutely can alchemize together and you can find common ground again. I feel like that's what this is about. That's what the universe is reminding you. So where is this relationship headed? I feel like it's headed to a place where you need to be honest with each other. I'm going to leave that like that. Let's see. I'm doing things just a little bit different than I normally would. I'm trying to find... this is the Witch's Wisdom Oracle. I'll pull one from here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, didn't flip. Oh, we go. You know, it's funny, as I'm trying to shuffle these cards, I just kind of got this energy, because they kind of were like moving around on me. Like, it feels like a little bit of turbulence. Like, in order to alchemize this, and by speaking truth, sometimes things can feel a little turbulent, right? I kind of feel like things might feel a little turbulent. You may have been, both of you may have been avoiding what this turquoise spirit is calling upon, which is to have that deeper heart to heart. You know, if you truly love your person and you really truly feel like you don't want to let this go, then this is telling you to level with them, level with yourself, and talk to each other, right? By talking to each other, you will bring this wheel, you'll stop the wheel from spinning and bring it into focus, right? The turquoise spirit also talked about, you know, from your vantage points of what you focus on, right? I feel like the wheel will pause and stop spinning long enough for you guys to find where each of you needs to focus better, or at least, or bring your relationship back into a focus, right? Like, I think sometimes we get so pulled in to all the different things that we have going on in life around us that sometimes we forget to come back center. I feel like this is reminding you to come back center to your relationship, remembering that your relationship is your home, right? So what do we have? All right, I'm just gonna let's see. It's always interesting. See, I always, when I'm shuffling, I channel. See, look, none came out, but I almost like dropped a bunch of cards. What do we have? I'm just going to pull cleansing, water. Yeah. Okay. This is about having those conversations that will cleanse. And it goes along with the star, right, too? Alchemizing, we cleanse when we alchemize together, right? So we've got the stars pouring water, and we've got water. And we've got this beautiful waterfall. And I don't know if YouTube is going to flag me for this here. I have my channel marked not for kids, but yeah. So cleansing. We're refocusing by having those conversations. We're cleansing. Maybe maybe the deeper anxieties that each of you might have been holding on to within your relationship, anything that's bothersome, by bringing it forward to the forefront and talking about it. You know, you're not sweeping things under the rug. I feel like that's another thing too, as that's a channeled message. I always think about, like, you know, in our day-to-day lives, sometimes things arise, but we have so much going on in our lives that sometimes we kind of brush things under the rug, right? But then there comes a time where you have to go get that broom and that dustpan, and you got to pick up that rug and clean out what you've been sweeping under it, right? Because over time, if you don't clean out what's under that rug, a pile builds, right? And somebody's got the potential to trip over it. That's the best metaphor I can use, is that it's time to clean out what's under that rug. Deeper conversations. So if you've been in a turbulent place with your person, if you are willing to have the deeper conversations and do the cleansing and alchemize with each other, I think this relationship can head to a place of keeping it healthy. Now, if you're not willing, whether it's you or if your person is not willing to have the deeper conversations, I feel like this is a message to remind you that you then have to still be honest with yourself about, if your person doesn't want to have these conversations, where is this relationship going? How can your relationship grow if your person's not willing to open up and talk to you? You know, sometimes people try and hold back from having those deep conversations because, not just because it's hard, but sometimes it's because it's going to reveal the deeper truths about ourselves, the things that we've been avoiding, right? I feel like I want to pull one more and just see what comes out. What one do I want to use, though? What deck do I want to use? Kind of like this. This type of spread is a little bit different than I would normally do. However, when I was thinking about this channel, I realized that when I sit down and read for people, it's much different than reading for a general what is the word I'm even looking for? Audience, I guess you could say. This is one of those decks that you kind of, that has the descriptions. I never really use it, but I do like this like the universal, like, galaxy type of vibe that this has going on. So let's actually see. I talked about how, what spirit, let's try and pull a card for the final conclusion of where is this relationship headed. Are you going to have those deep conversations? What's going to happen if you guys sit down and have those deep conversations? Is it going to solidify the relationship, or is that turbulent energy that comes about anytime you have deep talks about different things? Is it going to bring this relationship to an ending? What is the resolve here? Let's see. What is the resolve? What is the resolve? That is... You know what? I feel like if you chose this pile, this Four of Swords, I don't necessarily always like this card. Like if I was doing a personal read for myself, right? Like a lot of times we're looking for answers. And I think in our world today, we're so used to things happening with faster movement, right? Like we want things to move forward. But I feel like this is telling you to take that time and have those conversations. Don't necessarily make it a make or break moment in your relationship. Take the time to contemplate on what each other says. Speak your truths. It's funny though, because even on this card, it says the Four of Swords is telling you to kick back and relax. So yeah, I think it's also a reminder too, when you have these conversations, keep it relaxed. Keep it, don't try, if you feel like you are being pulled in this place where you get anxious and, I'm not going to say rage, but you know, sometimes if we've been having conflicting emotions with someone, we get defensive. I feel like this is a reminder to telling you to take time with this situation, right? Take time with it. Don't expect that just by having one deep conversation that it fixes everything, I feel like, right? And of course, Swords is air, and it's a reminder. I don't necessarily like calling upon the different elements. But again, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius is all air. And again, having conversations is pulling from your mind, right? Or we have to alchemize between our heart and our mind. This is reminding you to be mindful when you have those conversations. And then when you do have the conversation, relax and recuperate from it. Take time to reflect. That's what this is a reminder of with this pile. So if you chose this pile, I feel like the final outcome here, this is just reminding you that right now is not a time to make the rash decision of ending it. If that's where you've been on the fence, if that turbulent energy arises when you have whatever conversations you need to bring forward, this is reminding you to take time to reflect on it within yourself as well. Be honest with each other and be honest with yourself. That's what I've got for pile 1. Okay, welcome in pile 2. If you chose the diamond, I've got number 20. I started off pile 1 by just pulling the meaning of the card itself. So let's just take a look. I did mark it off after I pulled some cards, just so that way it'd be quick and easy for me to find. I do this here. So, diamond, the essential meaning, the priceless gift of time and pressure combined. The beauty and strength arising from trials and challenges. The right use of power. That's the essential meaning. So yeah, I feel like time. This is someone you've been involved with for quite some time. It also says the pressure combined, right? Because it takes pressure to make a diamond. So it feels like you've probably been going through something with someone that there's been ample amount of time, and you kind of, if you're called here to this reading, I feel like either someone was kind of putting the pressure on you to make a decision of commitment, or you've been putting the pressure on them. You know, this pick a card is called Where is this relationship headed? So let's just see by where it goes. Let's just read this part real quick. As co-creators with our fellow beings, we are meant to work together harmoniously, giving and receiving, taking turns in sharing the work, the credit, the fun, the power of manifestation. Today you are called to claim your power and exercise it with respect and love for all, even those who are hard to love, especially those who challenge you. Okay, so maybe you've been going through a challenge, and that's what the pressure is about. You never know what silent struggles people are hiding, and your ability to express love is magnified by the Diamond Spirit today. So listen to that part of you that wants to be kind and understanding towards someone who is making it difficult for you to come from your highest self. Diamond Spirit has appeared to let you know that this is a moment to yield your power mindfully. You have earned wisdom over time, as you have suffered much in your life and now are in a place of maturity and understanding. Avoid being reactive, for there is strength in quiet, loving gestures, such as the willingness to listen or to say, I'm sorry that you are in this situation. Often it is these gentle actions that hold the most power. Your ability to move hearts is very strong right now. So even as you maintain healthy boundaries, make the choice to own your power and use it with wisdom and grace. In doing so, you align with the conscious universe, who knows the healing power of love and compassion. I just wanted to really quick check out the relationship message. Your ability to act lovingly is strong today, amplified by Diamond Spirit. You are filled with love and capable of deep compassion, even as you speak the truth about how others' behavior affects you. Sorry. Use your power to set firm boundaries, to say no and mean it, to listen with an open heart, open mind before making a decision, and to express compassion without giving up your integrity. All this wells up from the wisdom you have earned from your previous challenges. You do know better now. At the same time, be sure you do not come on so strong that others feel intimidated. Forcefulness is not necessary. Pay attention to whether someone seems afraid to contradict you, for you might unwittingly be discouraging them from owning their power. Be loving, be strong, be compassionate, and exercise the right use of power with everyone you connect with today. That's interesting. You know, in pile 1, I talked about having deeper conversations. It even feels like, well, in any relationship, we have to have deep conversations, right? I feel like there's been pressure that was put on this relationship in the recent. And the Diamond Spirit is reminding you that this relationship that you have, it is a priceless gift of time, right? And it's talked about harmoniously working together. I feel like the two of you maybe needed a reminder to be mindful of what brought you together in the first place in your love, right? Avoid being reactive and keep healthy boundaries with each other, right? Let's see. In pile 1, I decided to pull and use my Alice in Wonderland. I have yet to use this on this channel, and I really don't ever use it. So in this video, this is the first time that I'm using it. And where did I put that? Where did I put the deck? All right, let's see what we've got here. So the Diamond Spirit, you're being reminded of the gift that this love is. So this reading was about, where is this relationship headed? Where is this relationship headed? Let's see. I don't use these cards much, so they're not, they're not very broken in, I guess you could say. What do we have? The Pair, which is the Lovers in the traditional deck. I kind of like that. The Pair. It almost makes it funny, you know, if you know the movie, you know, Tweedledee and Tweedledum. I feel like the two of you are like the perfect pair. And if you chose this pile, it's a reminder about being that harmonious, working together to keep the harmony so you can continue to be that harmonious pair. Your love is a priceless gift of time, you know, with the Diamond Spirit. So I feel like if you're here watching this, it's a reminder that to be that perfect pair, you have to take time to work together on this relationship. That's what it feels. Sorry, I went quiet there for a second, but I was feeling the energy. Reminder to use your power mindfully, right? The Diamond Spirit in our book there talked about being mindful. I feel like this reading is reminding you that you are a pair. So if you chose this pile, it feels like, where's this relationship headed? It feels like you probably have been going through a time, if you're watching this, obviously, and looking for answers in tarot, you've probably been going through a time period that maybe has been a little bit rough. In pile 1, I used the word turbulent. I wouldn't necessarily say, for this pile, I wouldn't necessarily feel like it's been like a crazy ride of turbulent reactions and chaos, but I mean, for some of you, maybe. But it feels like maybe you guys have kind of been a little bit misaligned on certain things. And so it feels like you're being reminded here that of why you guys came together. You guys came together because you loved each other. You found love, right? And let's just see. I think, yeah, we're going to pull one card from my traditional deck. This is my favorite deck. So I got the Lovers. You guys have some fiery energy between each other, right? The Knight of Wands coming in. We're already in a relationship here with this reading, right? This is called Where is this relationship headed? I feel like it's moving forward with some fiery passion, to be honest here. All right, the Knight of Wands comes in with fire. Wands are fire. So it feels like passion. You guys are a pair who, it feels like the chemistry here is very strong within each other, right? I'm going to put this one down to the side here. Let's, what did I use next when I did this one here? Let's see. The next, yep. Let's go for the Witch's Oracle. We'll pull one from here. You know, with the diamond, right? I think of the one saying, right? Like a diamond is forever. I know that that's that's you know, a marketing campaign right there, but it feels like when you guys, if you chose this pile, when you met, you felt like you met your diamond. You met your forever person. And you guys are that pair, that Tweedledee and Tweedledum. And I think if people know you and your relationship, you know, friends or family, I think that's the way that they think of you guys, you know. And it's because that your chemistry together, not only romantically, but even just in the friendship, it feels like, right? There's, I think other people view your relationship as like the one that will be the forever, right? Like, I think in the world that we're in today, like, not just that divorce has become more accepted, but like it happens to a lot of people around us, right? But I feel like if you chose this pile, you're in the relationship that's going to stand the test of time, right? The priceless gift of time. I don't know why I keep hearing that. The priceless gift of time. I think that's too what even like the, you know, the guidebook even talked about, right? It's a priceless gift of time. That's what I'm hearing here, right? So let's see. Let's try the Witch's Oracle here. Okay. Familiar guardian. I love that, the beautiful cat. I love cats. And it's got the one star over the third eye. It feels like, you know what this feels like? It feels like this relationship stands the test of time because you guys protect it. Both of you. You and your partner uphold each other. So if you're looking at where is this relationship headed, it feels like this is moving forward. Because you guys are so familiar to each other. It's like you're kindred spirits, right? Like Tweedledee and Tweedledum are like basically twins. So, you know, maybe for you in this relationship, you have felt, or they have felt, that twin flame word might have been brought in, you know. I'm not necessarily big on twin flames. I believe it to be a concept and a construct that we can, you know, that things can feel like that. I believe that energy is fluid. I believe that we can have more than one twin flame, just like we can have more than one soulmate, right? Like it's our energy. I always used to laugh when they say, you know, your twin flame, like it's souls that was split into two and you found each other. Well, who's to say that they only split into two? That's why we have soul families, right? Again, it's a concept and construct, but it feels like this is so familiar because your souls are so much aligned. That's what that feels like. So let's use this card to see where is this relationship headed. It's quite possible that if you're here looking for answers as to where is this relationship headed, maybe you're here because, you know, I feel like if everything was perfect, right, and great, you probably wouldn't be here necessarily looking for answers within the tarot. So if you're here, it's quite possible that for you, maybe you have felt like this is that this is that perfect love. Like this is your perfect pair, your twin flame. Like you may feel like the passion and fire between you and the chemistry is there, and you may feel like this is so, like your person is so familiar, like you've known them your whole life, And it feels like this relationship is protected in that way, right? But maybe it hasn't moved forward. So let's see if this will give us an answer as to where is this relationship headed. If things are in that place, if this is your person, if you truly feel that, where is this relationship headed, right? Where is this relationship headed? You heard me talk in pile one. Pile one was kind of like my guinea pig of feeling out what decks I was going to use. I don't necessarily always like this deck just because I really never use it. It has like the descriptions and everything on it. But all right, Page of Swords. The energy needed for a certain project or task is ready and waiting for you. You just need to tap into it. This is a time of innovation as the swords relate to communication. This would be a great time to write a blog, a book, or start a podcast. Okay, well, this is about love. Who's to say you can't do a podcast about that? But this is a great time to share ideas or feelings for those close to you. And again, swords is air, so we've, of course, got Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, and air element. But underneath we've got, it says new ideas, curiosity, alert thirst for knowledge, restless, spying, news, negotiations, information, messages, contracts. I'm going to pull one more. It feels like, you know, it says new ideas and curiosity. I feel like this might be a time where maybe you need to call on your person and say, and maybe just ask them maybe you need to bring in some new ideas. So maybe it's time to actually talk to them about, hey, ask them directly where they feel like the relationship is headed. You know, bring in that new next level, new ideas. It says alert thirst for knowledge. Restless, spying, news, negotiations, information, messages, contracts. Feels like if this hasn't been moving forward, this is a time to call in some new things. Maybe it's become too familiar in the sense that, like, you know, it's hard right now, I know, in today's world, like inflation and things, the cost of living has gotten higher. So sometimes I feel like if we've been in a relationship for a while, because the cost of living has become so much, I feel like maybe we have not gone out so much, right? Maybe the two of you haven't really had a date night in quite a while. And that's why everything, as great as the relationship is, as much as you guys are that perfect pair, as much as you guys have a certain fieriness that is passion between you, I feel like maybe you were kind of going through a little bit of a lull. Like, your relationship will stand the test of time, but if you're looking at where this relationship is going, if you want to continue to move this relationship forward, it's calling upon you to maybe just inject some newness into it. Maybe, you know, date nights and going out and doing things don't have to be expensive. You know, don't worry about going to the theme parks. Don't worry about going to some big extravagant dinner. But I don't know, depending on where you live, if you live close enough to a beach area, you know, we're finally in springtime, the weather is warming up. You know, maybe you can just go pack a little nice picnic on the beach, you know. Take some time with each other. I feel like this relationship, let's see. So where is this relationship headed? If you've been in a lull, it can move forward, but you're being reminded that you've got to work on it, that you simply have to put in a little bit of effort. it feels like this relationship will continue to move forward. I don't feel like this relationship is ending. If you've been in a lull, in a time period where things have maybe been a little uneven, and this particular reading, pile 2, is reminding you that you simply sometimes have to bring in some new energy into it, right? You know, things may be a little too familiar, right? So it's time. I want to just pull one more. Let's just see. Because it definitely, this does not feel like an ending whatsoever, to be very honest with you. You know, sometimes we can read the cards and it's pretty clear that maybe it started, maybe, you know, different cards, if the first 2 came out and they seemed great, but then the rest of the cards kind of lead into a place of, you know, this does not feel like that. This does not feel like it started off great and it's ending. This feels like it started off great and it is great still. It's just maybe things haven't been as smooth as they always were. And these cards have me shuffling for a good minute here. I'm going to stop rambling for a second. Just feel this energy here. Didn't flip. Oh, we've got 2. Oh, no, we've got more than 2. All right, let's see for a quick second here what we have. Death, the Emperor, 3 of Cups, 9 of Cups. This feels, since this is over here, this feels, again, I said this did not feel like an ending. I feel like like I was saying when this card came out, talking about bringing in some newness, I feel like by bringing that in, it'll be the death of that lull, right? Endings, beginnings, change, transformation. This is the transformation and the metamorphosis, the end of that cycle to renew, right? The Emperor, you are in control and your hard work has brought you great rewards. Respect, leadership, stability, structure, yes. Okay, 3 of Cups. Celebration, friendship, collaboration. Yeah, I feel like, and the 9 of Cups. Wish come true, contentment, satisfaction. To me, these last couple cards that came out, they all came out upright. I feel like by taking that time to kind of revive that relationship, go on, find some simple dates, something to do together, taking time together, right? Diamond is that priceless gift. So I feel like that this time period, if you've been in a time period where it's been a little bit darker, or maybe you guys haven't been jiving so perfectly as you always do, I feel like there was still, no matter what, I don't feel like this relationship, like you ever fell into a place where you were disrespecting each other. I feel like you were just acknowledging that things kind of felt a little off. But I don't feel like this is some deep, dark trauma bond here. This feels overall healthy. And I feel like this relationship here will continue to move forward by taking time together to make sure that you know, focus again on each other a little bit. Take a little time. You know, our worlds are busy, but maybe on your days off, you know, make sure to go out and do something a little different together to revive it. I feel like it will be the death of this little lull, and you will bring in, you know, is like the Emperor is about respect and leadership and stability and structure. I feel like your relationship has structure. I feel like the two of you overall, I feel like you've got your stuff together, both of you. I don't feel like either of you handle this relationship in a toxic way. I feel like you're just looking to know a little deeper as far as how to come out of the slow period that you've been in. I don't feel like this is an ending at all. It's just been a little slow. And the thing is, you've got a kind of like an ocean that with waves. You just ride the waves with each other. This to me is a very good relationship, and it's not going anywhere. Like, Nine of Cups is about contentment and gratitude, satisfaction, right? Wish come true. Take a little time to reestablish your connection. Inject some new, fresh energy. Go do something fun. Feel like that's the message here. So that's what I've got for pile 2. That's the message here. Okay, moving on to pile 3 with the blue lace agate, number 12. I'm going to pull, sorry, I was moving cards from pile 2, making sure that I put cards back where they belong here. Let's see. So blue lace agate. I don't know why pile 3. This feels like a pile that's about letting go of attachments. That's what this feels like. Blue lace agate here. In my other piles, I just read a little bit from the guidebook, just to see. So let's see. Essential meaning is peaceful acceptance, stress-free, non-attachment. I just said that. Freedom from unnecessary dramas. Although crystals seem solid and permanent, all things on this earth change over time. Even the minerals and the rocks. Transformation can be slow and nearly imperceptible, but we are always changing. Our lives flow like a river, slowly or quickly, but always in motion. And that's a good thing. The appearance of the blue lace agate spirit calls you to embrace the possibility of change without stress. You are not too old, too late, too stuck in your ways, or too anything. You are enough, and you will have help as you dare to be different and step into a new destiny, finding your purpose with peace in your heart instead of living according to the old patterns, probably created long before you even thought about your habits and or belief systems. Why hold onto a past that causes you stress and anxiety? It's already changing anyway. Impermanence is the nature of everything. And the conscious universe has so many ideas for how to help you be fulfilled, balanced, and joyful. Relationship message is the universe is ruled by divine order, so now is the time to release all your anxiety. If you are sensing that your relationship is in transition, know that the conscious universe wants the best for you and will work with you to help you experience the loving relationships you deserve. You are not untethered and tossed about by the cold north wind, even if it may feel that way right now. Be at peace, for you are firmly on the ground with the conscious universe as your reliable anchor. Connect with this ally, and this transition will lead you to something even better. for you will remember that change can be a very good thing. Open yourself to new possibilities for transformation. Well, this pile is about transformation, it seems like here, right? So, sorry, I started off with, in my first two piles, we started off with the Alice in Wonderland Tarot. So I'm going to start there. Let's see if Alice goes down the rabbit hole of transformation here. Number 12. 12 might be significant for you. For some of you, it will be. Transition. Transition. I said non-attachment. And in the book, Freedom from Unnecessary Drama, it feels like maybe if you're here and you chose pile 3, it feels like your relationship probably has been going through some drama. And it feels like this is telling you that it's time to transition out of that drama. For some of you, maybe within your relationship, you are able to have some conversations and move out of the drama. But it seems like this, if you chose this pile, it seems like the universe here is telling you not to be afraid to transition out of your relationship. You know, sometimes we become attached to a certain person or outcome just because we try to follow our previous choices, right? But it feels like you're being reminded here that just because you made one choice at one time doesn't mean that you have to continue to stay on that path, right? So let's continue here. Alice in Wonderland, this is the first time I'm using this deck in quite a while, aside from pile 1 and pile 2, but for this reading, I should say. This reading has been the first time I have actually picked up this deck in probably months. And it's funny, I love Alice in Wonderland, but there are multiple different Alice in Wonderland decks. This particular one is not really my favorite. I'd like to get another one. Some of the imagery is different on the different decks. What do we have? What do we have here? The Tower. Well, that kind of goes along with transformation, doesn't it? Usually the Tower comes in as that energy to shake up or break up what's been going on in the current position, right? All right, so that's from Alice in Wonderland. I'm going to shift into a different deck. Where did I go? Trying to follow the same order that I kind of did for my other readings here. I think I shifted into this one next, so I'm just going to go with the traditional Rider-Waite, and right off the bat, I've got the two strong women. I feel like in this transition, you're being reminded of your power. That's what this is right here. If your relationship has been in a place where you are here wondering where, like I titled this video, is where is this relationship headed? You're headed into a time frame where you are calling on your power. You're going to sit in your power. And this feels like, yeah, this feels like kind of like the blue lace agate kind of said, which is flowing out, releasing the anxiety. And as you release your anxiety of whatever it is that you're going through in the relationship, you're going to come into your power. This is about standing in your power. That makes sense here, right? This This feels like your relationship is, where's this relationship headed? It feels like it's headed into a place where you become single. And although, listen, if you are a masculine watching this, and then switch the roles. It doesn't have to be about women's power. It can be you standing in your power. But if you understand this energy here, these are two powerhouse type of women, right? At least in the cards. So this energy, if you're a male watching, doesn't have to be that you stand, you know, it's just a reminder of standing in your power, right? Yeah, both these ladies are holding, she's got a smaller scepter and she's holding the wand, but it's kind of like commanding power. You're commanding in your relationship. Either your person respects you or you're out. All right. You are taking back your power. You're transitioning from staying in this place. I feel like if you were called here to watch this and you chose pile 3, you're being reminded not to be caught up in the drama. You know, sometimes when we're kind of trauma bonded, it's like we stay within this state of drama. We get pulled in by it. You know, going back and forth with trying to be more powerful than the other person. It feels like this is telling you to rise up above that and claim your power, in the sense that you leave it behind. Leave behind the drama. Because you're better than that. You're better than staying trauma bonded. And if you have certain things established with this other person, just remember that although it may seem tedious to, maybe you have a bank account together or you have a home together, whatever it is, it can be tedious to think about the things that have to be done. And, you know, sometimes we stay in a position longer than we needed to just because we were afraid of taking the next steps, because maybe those next steps involved making big movement. And we just didn't kind of want to rock that boat, like, you know, with the way that the world is right now. There's, you know, inflation, all these different things happening around us. And it might have felt like you just didn't want to go there right now. And so maybe you were kind of, feels like you were like tolerating each other. And this tower is coming in. Like, look at the look on her face, right? Look at the look. That's not a happy person. That's someone who has been staying somewhere and deep down within has not been happy. And it feels like the tower is coming in and reminding you that you are powerful. You are a queen. You are an empress. You have power. Don't stay here. Don't let yourself be dragged down by the situation. So right now I'm using Witch's Oracle, Witch's Wisdom Oracle cards. I pulled this out the other night and I did a reading and I used some of these cards and I actually liked it. I like the energy of these. It's a simple little oracle deck, but I like some of the messages that have come out on these cards. And I like that it has the galaxy with the star and the pentagram. All right. The universe is vast. I feel like that's even a message for you here when I said that the universe is vast. You know, sometimes we stay stuck because we can't see what the next step is. This is a reminder that, you know, there's endless opportunities and endless ways that you can change and transition yourself. Every single day that we wake up is a chance to transition and change. You know, kind of like those sayings of like, who I was yesterday is not the person I am today. And I think, did we have a card flip? Did we have one? I thought I saw one flip. Let's see. Deep breath. I don't know. Okay. This transition is something that's been coming. The way that I keep continuously shuffling, this transition is something that you've been thinking about for a little while now. So it kind of feels like I'm supposed to tell you not to be afraid. You know, sometimes we tell ourselves, well, we don't want to be a quitter. You know, when you get into a relationship, you might have gotten into this relationship not thinking about, like, not wanting it to end. And you may have been holding back in this position of being unhappy because you told yourself, I need to give it time. I don't want to just leave, and it's the wrong decision. I feel like the universe is telling you right now, if you've been thinking about this for a while and you have been in this position for a while now, it feels like the universe is telling you that it's time. It's okay to make that change. It's time. Stand in your power. It's time. Like you've given this relationship a fair shot and a fair chance to work. We've got two. Well, Cauldron and Cloak. Where is this taking us here? Cauldron says containment and Cloak says concealment. So we've got two cards from this deck that are basically kind of the same type of energy. It feels like you have been, okay, so kind of like, it goes along with the energy that I was feeling as I was shuffling and shuffling with this. You've been containing yourself from leaving. You've been concealing maybe to other people around you just how unhappy you've been. I don't feel like the people around you know that within you, you have been as unhappy as you have within this relationship. So I feel like maybe part of why you've been holding back from transforming and standing in this power is because people didn't know that underneath you have been feeling this way. You've been concealing it. You've been cloaking it. And you know what? To a certain degree, that's respectable because, and here's why I say that, you know, within your relationship, I think the one thing that you have felt is that this is my relationship. It is not a community project. I feel like the things that you are feeling, you were trying to work out within yourself. You were containing those things and you were not necessarily outsourcing, going to someone else, talking about your trouble. And I think that's why you've stayed. You've been concealing your unhappiness. You've been concealing and cloaking it. Also because you felt that you needed to respect your person in that regard, right? You felt like you needed to respect your relationship and, you know, keep the problems under wraps. Like your problems were your problems. You didn't want somebody else to just say, you know, a lot of times as an exterior person comes in, they'll be the first one to be like, well, if you're unhappy, you know, just leave. And I feel like that's become such a common thing. Other people are so quick to tell us to just leave, to just, well, if you're unhappy or if this and this happen, pack up your stuff, girl, get out of there, go. And I feel like it's not always so easy as that, is it? Especially if you have had time with this person, you feel like you owed your relationship the chance to not just run from it. You wanted to work on it. I feel like you've done some work on it. But you've got to face yourself and about maybe your person hasn't been so willing to work on things, talk about things, do the deeper work, the deep dive. And again, I don't feel like necessarily, it doesn't feel like the relationship maybe is completely toxic. That's why you have cloaked and hid things from other people about the relationship, because maybe this person, you know, it can be really easy to get up and leave if you have a really toxic person, right? Like if your relationship has been with someone who love bombed you and then suddenly they turn around and they just toxically always blame you for things and or never take accountability, it would be really easy to say, you know what, I can't do this. This is not who I am. I'm not about to sit here and take this kind of abuse. It would be easy to rise up in this power. But it feels like the reason why you've been concealing it and holding it is because this person has not necessarily been toxic. It's just you're misaligned. You want different things than your person has been willing to give, or whatever the case. It's going to vary for each of you, obviously, that's watching, right? But yeah, it definitely feels like you gave this relationship a fair shot. And we're going to go for more universe, energy, galaxy. So I think it's been pretty clear here where this relationship is headed, but let's get some, let's see another final message. Let's see if we could. Okay. There's a bunch here. I'm just going to take from the top. So I always kind of turn it and just pull what was at the top. High Priestess. Again, yep. This message for pile 3 is very clear to me. You're being reminded to call upon your higher self who knows that it's time to go. That's what this is, right? Yeah, actually on this card, if you look, it says, trust yourself. Divine feminine, spirituality, intuition. Your intuition has known that it's time to go. So if you're here for pile 3 and you've been finding yourself in transition, again, this is a reminder of your power. You've got 3 very powerful women and feminine energy coming through here, reminding you to stand in your power, right? You've got better things waiting for you. That's what this message is here today. So I want to thank you for coming to the channel. And please like, share. I'm not going to, well, you don't have to share. I always hate when people say, I'm not going to share tarot readings on my social media and let people know that I'm doing a deep dive and looking for answers. Just like, and if you feel inclined to subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. I'm trying to grow this channel. Just started it this week, so I would appreciate that very much. Much love.